Hey guys, Taverny here again, another video. Looks like Blizzard has released another set of patch notes for Season 4 development updates. So I figured we'd just go ahead and take a quick look at those, see if I have anything to add from the last one. The last one had some pretty, I wouldn't say sweeping, but pretty significant dungeon changes to a lot of trash, as well as like reallocating some mechanics to tanks or healers instead of just DPS priority. Like the one boss in Neltharis is now going to fixate the tank instead of pulsate damage to the group. That's great. So let's see if these changes can measure up. Any new improvements? Some of this we've probably already talked about, so we'll go ahead and breeze through it. So, Season 4 Mythic Dungeons brings back all 8 Dragonflight dungeons. Again, we've covered this. I am a little disappointed that Dawn of the Infinite's not there, as I think Fall specifically is probably one of my favorite dungeons thus far, but another topic entirely. Difficulty changes, so they're scaling back difficulties. They went 0 to 10 to basically be the 10 through 20. That's fine. Keystones are already extremely bloated. When people are running 30s, it gets to the point of being a bit ridiculous. So I'm fine with this. So normal difficulties unchanged. Heroic is equivalent to a baseline Mythic 0 in the current system. This remains queuable. Great. So this is Mythic 0. Tuning and rewards of this difficulty are increasing to the equivalent of a plus 10 with the current system. Okay, still on a weekly lockout. No timers, affixes, or limitations. Yeah, so they're just scaling everything back. That's perfectly fine. And it looks like affixes are going to be at the plus 2 for Fortified and Tyrannical, plus 5 for the like interactable affix, Entangling, Incorporeal, Afflicted, and then plus 10 is going to be the On Death affix, Bursting, Bolstering, Spiteful, etc. So, okay, cool. And I'm assuming, let's see, Crest and Flight Stones. Flight Stone earnings will match equally challenged Mythic Plus from previous seasons. Cool. You don't want to be bottlenecked by Flight Stones. I wonder if they're going to change Crest acquisition at all. Whelpling Crest no longer available. Players will earn 10 Drake Crest on completion of a Mythic 0. Worm Crests will be available in Mythic Plus 2 to Mythic Plus 5 dungeons and the same quantities as existing Mythic Plus. Ah, come on. Was really hoping to see some kind of alt improvement. Like once your main is like X item level or has done X level of key, you get 25% bonus crests of that level. And then you could just scale up slowly. I really wish there, like, especially in season 4 when it's like a for fun shortened season, no one is going to want to grind, 5 or 600 aspect crests to be fully geared. Like my shaman, I think, is 485 right now and has grinded 550 aspect crests and still isn't fully done with upgrading yet. It's kind of ridiculous. I really wish they would address this and just make it so that yeah, when you hit a certain key level or if you hit a certain item level on your main, that your alt gets boosted. Nobody wants to do the same thing multiple times at the same speed. Like once you've done it once, the novelty is like kind of gone a little bit, and I feel like they could offer a lot of quality of life to alts and just increase the crest acquisition. But maybe one day. All right, so dungeon updates. Halls of Infusion. Ew, gross. Anyway, general. Dungeon checkpoint added after defeating the Gulpin Goliath. So this is the Toad. So great, a checkpoint. Now we're not running from the front door and, oh, hopefully you guys got the skip. Nope, checkpoint. That's perfect. I understand that they want a theme and they were hesitant to just add checkpoints after bosses. Honestly, why not just add a checkpoint after every boss? Who cares? It's a Mythic Plus, it's timed. You've probably done it on 0. On 0, you can leave the theme in. When it's timed, put a fucking checkpoint. Thank you. Normalized spawn rate of crashing tsunami during the gauntlet. I assume. What is that? Is that like the trash the last boss? Okay. I don't care. I mean, that's like really not impactful. Anyway, containment apparatus containment beam has been reduced by 42%. That's great. I think this one we had briefly covered, but this number looks like it was increased. That beam absolutely destroys unfortified, and it doesn't have a spell lockout, so it just continuously channels on someone. It's pretty annoying. That's a good change. Primalist Gale Singer. This is the named mob right before the Toad boss, so right before the second boss. Wind Buffet has been removed, and Thunderstorm has been removed. Now uses Thunderstrike. Inflicts nature damage to all players within 7 yards. Okay. So, don't stand in that. Be loosely spread. Cool. Primalist Earthshaker's Rumbling Earth's rim visual will no longer clip into the terrain. Oh, okay, cool. So, improving visual clarity of something. It's always nice, so you can avoid the mechanic properly. I believe this is the stun. The stun on the Dragon Trash. So between bosses 2 and 3, yeah, I think that's what it is. Encounters Watcher Iridius. This is the first boss. Titanic Fist now has a visual during the cast. Cool. That's the big frontal for the tank. Power Overload now has a Vim visual around the afflicted player. And the power field now gradually grows to its full size. That's a great change. Initially, it would just expand like instantly. So the dot ticks off and it expands to 30 yards, and then you're taking another 2 or 3 ticks depending on your movement speed to get out of the zone. But now with it growing to full size, you'll be able to more consistently get out without taking extra damage. That's great. Kajin the Unyielding. This is the ice boss, the third boss. Added rim visuals on ice boulders that will trigger avalanche. Great. Again, more visual clarity. Hard to complain. You love to see when something's going to get popped. You want to see when those are getting popped, those little ice mounds. So that's great. Primal Tsunami, this is the last boss. Castaway now occurs at 50% health. Was 100% energy. Oh my god, thank you. This is one of the ones I think I complained about in the last video. Is that time-based bosses on Tyrannical, especially in hierarchies, are ass. Nobody wants a phase change every 1.5 minutes when the boss takes 6+ minutes. So now you will get one phase change where you have to run the gauntlet and dodge all the water, and that's it. That's perfect. Amazing. Thank God, Blizzard. Maybe this one will be more bearable now. But we'll see. So Azure Vault. General, increase the timer of Azure Vault by 1 minute. Cool. Crystal Fury, these are the rock golems. Piercing Shard now has a precast visual, and impact area has been reduced. Oh, great. Okay, the cone was huge. So you could errantly cleave your melee pretty easily if they strafed near you, or if you weren't watching where they were as the tank. So that's great. Conjured Lasher, Mystic Vapors will now be cast less frequently. This is the dot that the Lashers in the first few rooms put on you. It's stacking. Again, there's already a billion things to kick in that dungeon. That's great. Arcane Tender's Erratic Growth cast time has been increased to 3.5 seconds. This is the channel that the treants put on you to turn you into a tree. So more time to kick. Great. Unstable Curator Heavy Tome will now be cast less frequently. Is this just like their ranged attack? Like the trash after the second boss going to the third? I actually don't know. I don't know this one. It sounds kind of meh, whatever, right? Draconid Breaker, Shoulder Slam's knockback has been removed. Cool. Now inflicts physical damage and increases physical damage taken by 10%. Okay, and will be cast less frequently. Kind of hard to determine how useful these will be. Just because people were already skipping those in Season 2, but then they patched out the skip so you can no longer do it. So they intend for you to clear these and the toads between the second and third bosses. So, I don't know. Kind of remains to be seen. Maybe I'll watch some PTR videos on that. All right, Encounters Laymore. So the first boss, Erupting Fissures, now follow current target player. Is that the tank mechanic? So, like, the tank doesn't need to place it before he cleaves. He can move it? Is that what that is? Not sure. If that is, that's pretty interesting, because you had to be really precise with how you placed the boss when he did that, but... Azure Blade, reduce the frequency of periodic damage from overwhelming energy. This is the ticking damage on the second boss, reducing that, cutting it in a quarter. 25% damage nerf, pretty nice. Umbral Skull, oppressive miasma removed. Oh, does this mean no slow? That's great if that's the case, because the slow was a pretty annoying mechanic. Wasn't necessarily deadly, it was just annoying for no reason. So I like that. Crystallized now pulses arcane damage. We talked about this already. Yes, so and the vortex now has a larger movement radius. You just spread for that mechanic. This just means you're going to prioritize the big tank crystal whenever it spawns. But now there's no movement debuff, so you can just position as you will. Cool, great. Braconite Hollow. Rotbow Stalker has been renamed. Shoot has a recast of 6 seconds, and Diseased Meat has been renamed to Rotten Meat. It's now a Poison Dispel. Oh, that's cool. Another Dispel. This is like left side trash that people weren't doing anyway, so I don't know. Maybe this will make it so people are more likely to go left, but as of now, everyone was going right in Season 2. Brackenhide Shaper, Summon Lasher has been removed, and Touch of Decay has been removed. Oh, great. So just less trash mechanics. Perfect. There's already a lot going on. Stink Breath, this is the named mob after the second boss. Violent Whirlwind's radius has been reduced. Perfect. Maybe melee can actually hit it properly. Stink Breath now locks facing after targeting a player. So I wonder, does it still always hit that player, or can you dodge the breath? Very interesting. Now is a visual while casting. Okay, cool. Gut Stabber Withering Poison. This is another dispellable, has been removed. Perfect. Bracken War Scourge Bloody Bite. I believe this is the healing debuff that was placed. I think it normally goes on the tank. It's a stacking bleed slash mortal strike. So that not being there is nice. You know, only like if you were like a dwarf, you could remove it or something, but or if you had an evoker. Clawfighter blood. Oh no, maybe that's this as well. They both have bloody bite. Okay, so just less bleeds. Cool. Less reliance on an evoker. Decay Speaker Rot Chanting Totem has been removed. That's perfect. And then encounters. This is all the first boss. Predatory Instincts haste bonus has been reduced. We talked about that in the last video. Mark for Butchery. This is when I think the rogue mob jumped on you and hacked on you a couple times. So again, this was talked about, I think. Gash Frenzy. This is the one where the rogue jumps to all the targets and places of bleed. Damage has been reduced, and duration has been reduced. We talked about that. Those are great changes. Cool. Bracken shaping up to be a pretty nice dungeon. I liked it a lot in Season 2. It really grew on me, so I guess we'll see for Season 4. Algothar Academy, Spellbound Scepter Arcane Rain has been removed. One more thing to not stand in. Cool. Spectral Invoker's Arcane Missiles damage has been reduced by 50%. This is the trash before the last boss. They did a lot of damage, and they didn't have a spell lockout. So again, really annoying for people. So I'm kind of glad that they're just reducing the damage. So if you don't happen to have a kick, it's okay. You could pop a small defensive and live through it instead of just getting beamed down. Encounters, Croth, this is the bird. Firestorm's frequency has been reduced. Oh my god, thank you. Less dodging, that's great. And Savage Peck's initial damage and periodic damage has been reduced. We talked about that. That's the tank bleed. Absolute Tank Crusher and Tyrannical. Echo of Dorogosa, this is the last boss. Unleash Energy added as the new mythic mechanics. That's just like every X seconds, or when it does the arcane pull, it's going to do a bit of damage to the group, which is great because the healer really had nothing to do otherwise. Like previously, if you weren't getting hit by mechanics, there was no damage. So that's great. I think Algothar is probably going to be my favorite. Just gauging how I liked all the dungeons in Season 1 and 2, I already liked Algothar a lot. They made a lot of good changes. These are great. Now, Thoris. Each burning chain can only be used once, and they stun all enemies and increase their damage taken by 50%. We talked about this already. This is a good change. Allows for coordinated groups to still do interesting things and take down a lot of trash if they're coordinated. But it doesn't. It's not like an I win button for the dungeon, which I think is a good thing. You shouldn't be allocating your power into like an item that you just click and you use and just boom, 20 million damage. Like that's not fun or engaging. It's stupid. Encounters, Chargath. This is the second boss, typically, because people go to the Mammoth first. Fiery Focus Pulse damage near Chargath has been removed. This is great. This means when you're clearing chains, you don't need to worry about the giant circle around him. You can just run in. And Fiery Focus now channels damage on current target. Yeah, so it's going to fix it the tank. So now it's a tank mechanic. Tank, pop your defensive. Means the raid's not going to get, or the group rather, is not going to get destroyed. Grounding Chain persists on a defeated player. Thank you, another good one. There was a bug where if someone died, like mid-cast or something, the chain would expire. And then if you didn't have all three chains, meaning if any single DPS died, you would not be able to knock Chargath, and they would just do 20 seconds of unavoidable AoE followed up by like a 10-second crazy damage dot. So being able to have a chain on a dead player is perfect. You're going to be able to break it, even if they die. Now it does small knockback to the player when applied. Okay, whatever. And then Warlord Sarga, this is the last boss. Curse of the Dragon Horde now stacks. We talked about that. Duration reduced to 30 seconds. We talked about that. And Azure Stone of Might. I believe this is one of the treasures. I don't know if this is the one that moves you. Let me just quick Google really fast. Launches themselves. Yeah, this is the one that moves you. This is one of the ones that moves you a lot. So them removing this is good. Thank you, Jesus. Give us more of like the wands or the rows where you could just be at X range and shoot it, and it's good. All right, Nokud offensive. Longbow. Multi-shot has been removed. Rain of arrows will now be cast less frequently. This is good. There's already a lot of trash damage going on. Beastmaster's hunt prey damage has been reduced. I believe this is related to the fixate with the Ahunas, the birds. Thunderfist Stormshock has been removed. This is the second trash. They're the boss of the trash leading up to the second boss, rather. The ones that spam the lightning bolts. So this is nice. Just it was already pretty heavy on kicks. Again, Storm Speaker, Stormbolt has been removed, so that they're just making the second boss trash a little easier. Okay, cool. And then Balakar Khan, this is the last boss. Frequency of storm winds during intermission has been reduced to every 10 seconds, was every 6. You're going to get knocked around less, you're going to take less damage. Cool. The boss is kind of annoying, so I'm okay with that. Overall, I thought Nokud was a pretty good dungeon, so we'll see how that fares. Ruby Life Pool. Pool, singular. Typo. Primal Terra Sentry Stone Missiles has been removed. Is that just like the tank nuke? I think it's just the tank nuke where it just shoots out like. Let me see. Oh no, it's they do a little ground effect on a knockback. Okay, cool. I mean that's just less for you to move out of. There's already a lot going on in that trash, so that's perfect. It's like the earth tremors that you have to kick, I think. But yeah. And then Kairaka, this is the last boss. We talked about these changes. The dot has been increased to 4 seconds. Periodic damage has been reduced to compensate. So you're just going to have more time to react, more time to move. That's great. And then lastly, Uldaman Legacy of Tyr. Lost Dwarves, Fiery Surge. This is when the pirate boat comes out and fires the cannon. Every cannon shot does damage to the whole party. That damage has been reduced by 50%. We talked about that. I kind of wish that this, in particular, this dungeon receives some tuning passes. I would hope that, like, for instance, they would remove some of the bleeds. The bleeds are really brutal on the trash, leading to the third boss. And then the third boss is also pretty brutal with bleeds. If you don't have like an evoker or a paladin or a mage who can ice block, or like a dwarf, uh, there's some pretty bad overlaps with the knockback plus the bleed. So I would hope that they would look at that or reduce some of the damage or the frequency of it. But again, we'll see. Overall, some pretty good changes. I can't really complain about these. Anything more that they can add, would love to see it. I want to have a good time in season 4. I'll probably do a video later this weekend just talking about season 4. I think people. I don't think it's going to be received super well. Like I'm excited to do it just because it's fresher content, but is it new? Like no, it's all recycled. But we'll talk about that in another video. Just, yeah, feel free to tell me what you guys think below, and you can always catch me twitch.tv/Veronix, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.